Welcome to the official Euro 2024 Haters Daily Show. I'm your host, Aaron Goldstein, and I'm joined in the studio today with Haters journalist Nathan Edwards. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to the Euros. It feels like it's been a long time since the Premier League season stopped, and now we can finally look forward to the European football.
I've got proper Euro fever. Reminder that we are live every single day at 1 o'clock, bringing you exclusive training clips, interviews with managers, and speaking to our friends on the ground in Germany, bringing us all closer to the action. I absolutely love international football. I absolutely love it. So tonight, let's go ahead and preview the tournament as a whole before we get on to Germany, Scotland. Who's your favourites to win Euro 2024?
I think there are a couple teams, obviously England, Germany, Portugal, good, but I just don't think you can look past France. They've obviously got the best player in the tournament in Kylian Mbappe, and he's captaining his nation for the first time in an international tournament. So I'm expecting him to be quite good and put on a show, but also I suppose they also have a winning mentality with the likes of Griezmann, Giroud, and N'Golo Kante back in the squad, who I think last featured since 2022 in the World Cup. So he'll be looking to make an impact as well.
That quote was so great. I'm expecting him to be pretty good. He's Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, just pretty good.
I think he'll be all right. So France are your favourites?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Spain, Italy, or the group of death? No one from there?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they've got a difficult group and they might overexert themselves early on, but obviously Italy, they're the reigning champions, but they've changed a lot since they won it. Roberto Mancini's gone to Saudi Arabia. They've lost Bonucci and Chiellini, and I think it's maybe a transitional period for them rather than a winning tournament.
I mean, one nation that we haven't already spoken about, and we're English, so it's only rude. Yeah. It's rude that we haven't. We are actually the bookies' favourites.
Really? Well, okay. Yeah.
England. What are your thoughts? It wasn't the perfect preliminary tournament matches, was it?
No, I actually think I'm not as hopeful as many fans. I think I've been bugged down by the two friendlies, but I think obviously looking at their attack, it's probably just as good as France. But I think the defence, it does worry me a bit with Maguire out and Shaw still a bit unsure, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. But they have progressed under Southgate, and maybe it is a coming of age tournament for them and a final hurrah for Southgate and his team.
Well, you think France are going to win it?
Yeah.
I personally think Germany have a serious chance. We're obviously going to come on to Germany in a minute. But if you think back to the last two European tournaments, Euro 2020, 2021, we weren't really the host nation, but we were. And it carried us a little bit to the final. Euro 2016, the Euros previously, France got to the final. Maybe they were, the best team anyway.
Yeah.
Unlucky to lose in the final. I think Germany have a serious chance.
Yeah, well, I mean, host nation, obviously, you can't doubt them. But since they won the World Cup in 2014, they've been pretty bad or spectacularly bad to the German standards. And so they'll need the crowd probably to keep them going. But yeah, you can't write them off. Never write off the Germans, I suppose, is a great phrase.
I think that's a fairly well-known phrase.
Yeah.
That's one of those comments that's always spoken about with football fans. So you're saying France, I'm saying Germany. The next big question, when you're not talking about the tournament favourites, is the Golden Boot. So yeah, away from the favourites, we got the Golden Boot race. The four frontrunners are Kylian Mbappe, Cristiano Ronaldo, Harry Kane, and Romelu Lukaku, who are all on your screen right now. Haters are delighted to have partnered with SofaScore. It's just the perfect app for all football nerds and even just your casuals, giving you all your stats from leagues all around the world. Who's your frontrunner from the Golden Boot?
I mean, looking at the stats there, it's absolutely crazy. Like Lukaku, 14, it's mental. And I mean, Belgium have probably dropped off a bit since Hazard has gone, Alderweireld has retired. Vertonghen's a bit older now, but yeah, Lukaku is good. But I think Harry Kane, he's England's best player. I think England will go far. I don't think they'll win it, but I think they'll go far. And if they do go far, Harry Kane will get a lot of chances. He'll score a lot of goals and penalties. We saw in a couple of tournaments with England, they do rely on penalties at some point, and Kane will be taking them. So I think it's difficult to look past Kane, but all four of those are definitely of a shout.
I mean, you look through those four. Let's quickly start with Cristiano Ronaldo because he's a good topic to talk about.
Yeah.
His fixtures: Czech Republic, Turkey, and then Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo, he can score a brace every game, no?
And also, I think him being in Saudi for the past couple of years, he'll probably want to remind people of what he's capable of, because he's kind of quieted down, if you can, with Ronaldo, and he'll use this tournament to remind everyone what he is capable of. And like you say, with the teams he's facing, he should be able to get a lot of goals and yeah, I don't. It's difficult to look past or doubt Ronaldo. And
For sure. Well, we saw on that SofaScore graphic as well, in terms of minutes per goal, Lukaku was by far and wide the most prolific of the four. His fixtures, he's got Slovakia, Romania, and Ukraine. They're all pretty decent fixtures, you might like to think.
yeah, I mean, I think it was last Saturday. I don't know why I was doing this, but I was watching Belgium versus Liechtenstein, and yeah, I don't
Why
ask.
would you do that?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? What else would you want to do on a Saturday evening? And yeah, I mean, him, Trossard, De Bruyne, and Doku and Lukaku linked up really well, and it was exciting. I generally thought they were a really good side compared to or gelled well compared to maybe when they had better players. And Lukaku knows how to find the net in international tournaments. He's Belgium's top goal scorer, and yeah, him and Doku looked quite frightening together.
We've kind of passed that golden era of Belgium.
Yeah.
But we've still got Lukaku, still got De Bruyne all playing. What is it about Belgium?
I don't know. I think maybe this will help them. There's less pressure on them. They've still got good players. Onana centre mid is also a good player. They still got Vertonghen as well. So they've got experience of winning, and maybe that will help them less expectation and as De Bruyne as well. De Bruyne, Doku, Trossard is an exciting three behind Lukaku, who is clinical. I know he's had a pretty rough tournament.
Clinical. Very interesting word to describe Lukaku.
Maybe
I
not
find
clinical.
him so strange.
Yeah.
He's one of the strangest players in football history.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it feels like he's been around forever.
Yeah.
He's got over 100 plus Premier League goals. And I've never seen a striker who loves missing big chances as much as him. He craves them.
Yeah, he loves it. I mean, I suppose on the big stage, he has into last year against Man City in the Champions League final. He wasn't great when he came on, and then also against Canada in the 2022 World Cup, he missed chances. So maybe clinical was a bit too kind, but he can score goals if you give him a couple chances, he will score one.
Let's go quickly on to Harry Kane as well. Do you think it helps him that he's been playing in Germany for the year?
Maybe, yeah. Like, he's settled down in the country. He knows, he's played in the stadiums. He knows the fans. He knows the culture somewhat, I suppose. So it should help him, and he's acclimatized well to the Bundesliga. He's faced a lot of German players, so maybe that will help. But yeah, wherever he goes, he scores goals.
I must add, these are only rumours, but there are some sorts of news articles coming about that Kylian Mbappe is out of the opening game. Does that change anything in your Golden Boot opinions?
No, I don't think so. I think obviously it's against Austria, so I think France will have enough to get by. With Dembele and Kingsley Coman coming in potentially, or even Barcola, who's an exciting young player. So I think they'll get by, and I think Mbappe he'll make up for lost time if he is out injured.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, you can quote me on this. I'm going for Kai Havertz as my tournament Golden Boot winner. 14 goals for the Arsenal this season. He's really found his goal scoring form. I back him. He's Germany's number 9 for the tournament. But it's interesting picks. Everything you said is noted, and only time will tell. Let's look ahead to tonight's opening match, where we heard from Andy Robertson.
In the recent days?
Yeah, look, last time I was at this stadium, it was a massive win for us. A lot of people wrote us off when we drew 0-0 at Anfield, and then to come here, very difficult place in front of all the Munich fans and things like that, to then win 3-1 was incredible, and it was even more incredible that took us on the journey to go and win the Champions League.
I mean, Robertson there is talking about Liverpool going to Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
Scotland going to play Germany is a different ball game entirely.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think Grant Hanley has it in him to play that ball Van Dijk did to Sadio Mane that day, but you never know. You can't doubt him.
I mean, how big is the challenge here?
Yeah, it is. It's a shame though, because obviously they were really good in qualifying, but they've kind of been hampered by injuries. They had Lewis Ferguson, who was crowned the best Serie A midfielder this year, but he got an ACL injury, which was a shame. It would have been good to see him with McGinn and Billy Gilmore. And then obviously they had Patterson and Hickey out. I mean, Hickey is a left back, and their two best players are probably left backs in Tierney and Robertson. But yeah, it's a shame. And then Lyndon Dijk, a striker as well. I just think goals will be an issue for them. Scott McTominay is probably their biggest goal threat, and then behind that they've got Che Adams, who scored 1 and 5 in international. He got a goal rate of 1 and 5 on the international scene. And I think Tommy Conway, he got called up for the injuries, and I think he's unproven on this level. So it'll be interesting, but I do think goals might be an issue.
For sure. I mean, we'll head more into Scotland, Germany in a second. But we also heard from Steve Clark, because we've got haters, journalists already on the ground in Germany. And he touched on Scotland's fantastic qualifying campaign.
In Spain at Hampden in the previous camp. So we came there in good spirits. It was nice when we made the equaliser with a couple of minutes to go, and we were quite happy to take a point. So you can imagine how happy we were to take all 3 points with the 2 late goals. But it was a pivotal game in the section, and we're aware of that, and hopefully we can have a few more good moments like that in this tournament.
So Scotland, they've beaten Spain. They kept Haaland quiet. Are we being a bit harsh by saying they're not going to score any goals and they've got no chance?
Yeah, they're no mugs. I mean, defensively, that we saw when they featured in the 2020 World Cup Euros, they kept England quiet in a 0-0 draw. But yeah, they're no mugs. Like, they will, and their fans, I think 200,000 fans are meant to be travelled to Munich. So if they do get a result, it will be a party there. But yeah, no, obviously they can. But yeah, I think defensively will be better than maybe offensively.
Well, that Scotland anthem that's going around at the moment, I absolutely love it. They ain't no Argentina, but they do have John McGinn. Let's look at Scotland and Germany's form coming into the tournament, where both sides actually have pretty similar records. If you can see with our SofaScore stats right here. Since 2023 began, they've both scored 23 goals. Germany have conceded more than Scotland, but do create more big chances a game and concede less big chances. At what point do stats mean nothing and you just think to yourself, Germany have better players, Scotland are going to struggle? What do you think?
Well, especially if you think in an international tournament, stats, I mean, like this, obviously they do probably mean something, but in front of a lively crowd, and Nagelsmann said previously there was a nervousness in the squad, and that will obviously play a part, which stats don't show. So there'll be high emotions for both sides, and I just don't think there's much pressure on Scotland, which will suit them. And if they can get out and pressure Germany, put them under pressure early on, then who knows, maybe Germany will crumble, especially in their, looking back at their 3 previous tournaments, they've been knocked out on the group stage on 2 occasions and then lost to England in the round of 16. So maybe, that will start playing in their mind if they don't start well against Scotland, and Scotland could potentially capitalise.
Yeah, I mean, I think Scotland have a chance of causing a couple of upsets here. You look back on their qualifying campaign and you think back to that win against Spain. Rodri, if you are watching, I'm very sorry. I know this game meant a lot to you. He was really, really angry after that when he said it was anti-football, whatever.
He likes that phrase.
Yeah, but Scotland they can beat the big boys. Scotland are now, people don't really care about the Nations League, but if you think about it as an actual, where it shows how you're progressing, they're League A, England are League B now.
Yeah.
You're saying McTominay is your big goal threat?
I think so,
yeah. John McGinn?
Yeah, exactly. John McGinn. I think especially against Germany, they won't see much of the ball. So him and Ryan Christie, their energy will be important. And John McGinn does have the ability to, especially have a good shot on him and create something out of nothing. So does Ryan Christie. He has quite a creative mind. Robertson will be important. But I think even if they do lose to Germany, it's not the be-all end-all, because Hungary and Switzerland, they'll be looking at those two. And obviously with the third-place team going through, or a couple of the third-place teams will go through. So they'll see those 2 teams as the ones they need to win, or at least draw against as a chance to go through.
I mean, you've got to remember, at the last Euro, Scotland beat England 0-0 in a game that really, really angered most of the country. Do you think Scotland, if you're Steve Clark, what's your game plan tonight?
Yeah, I think probably similar to that victory, that 0-0 victory. Be solid at the back and just hope something comes, because they will create something. And Scott McTominay showed against Spain that he does have a good striker on him and a good he knows where to be in the box to finish. So if they do create something, then and are solid at the back, why not? But they have never progressed out of a group stage in knockout international football.
We'll come back to McTominay in a minute, but we did also hear from German manager Julian Nagelsmann, the youngest manager at the tournament, and how he convinced Toni Kroos to have his last dance at this summer's tournament.
To convince him because he wanted to know what we were going to change in the future for the national team. He said to me in one of the first phone calls that he only will be part of the team when he has the feeling that we can win anything with the team. And so he wanted to know what are the next steps, what are the next decisions, how we change the team. And I told him, and then he said, yes, I will be part of it, and let's rock.
Going back to how you described Kylian Mbappe earlier, let's go same thing with Toni Kroos. He's pretty good at football, isn't
pretty
he?
good, yeah. Quite good. But yeah, it's the only tournament he hasn't won in his career, I think, probably. And his final tournament, so it's
Never won the Johnson's Paint Trophy.
That's true, yeah. Well, that's the pinnacle. Maybe he'll come out of retirement for that.
You never know.
But yeah, it would be a crowning moment. It'd be a great way to send off one of the greatest midfielders of our generation. Just when you watch him at Real Madrid, the way because he's so good at finding passes that no one else sees, and when you watch him, he's never really misplaces a pass, and they're normally always forward. And he's a joy to watch. And I think if he will be desperate to bow out in a spectacular way.
The thing that confuses me about Toni Kroos is he's still so good at football.
Yeah.
I personally don't understand why he's retiring.
No.
He's probably got some years left in him. Everyone's saying, well, you could go to the MLS, you go to Saudi. He's done pretty well for this Real Madrid team that just won the Champions League and La Liga.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
And he bossed the Champions League. It wasn't like he was just enjoying the ride. He was an important player in it, and I think it's pretty insulting saying the Saudi League. I think he is better than that, and I think he could still do a couple of years at Real Madrid still, like Modric has proved he can. I think Kroos is probably the same ilk as well.
I'm going to do what I do best here and annoy some Manchester United fans because you look at Casemiro and you look at Rafa Varane. Now they've come out at they've been doing so well for Real Madrid, gone to Man United, and they've not really been up to their Real Madrid standards. Is that because they're at Man United, or is that because they're past it?
I think when you buy a player off Real Madrid, normally they know how to sell and when to sell, so it's always got that asterisk. But I think United, yeah, it's difficult. I think at United, you look at the players they've signed, how many have actually been better than when they came in? Maybe Bruno Fernandes and some of the young players, but when the signings like Casemiro and Varane, they're not like that. But yeah, I don't think. Well, Kroos there's loads of links of Kroos to Man United early on in his career, but I think he made the right decision staying at Real Madrid.
I do absolutely love Toni Kroos. And the thing is really with him, this is going to be his final hurrah. And if you think all the way back to 2006, there was a player that at this very stadium where the Euros kicks off tonight had his final hurrah, and that was Zinedine Zidane. Any chances of a Toni Kroos headbutt to finish his career?
It would be crazy. I think he's a bit cooler headed than Zidane. So I'm gonna say the brave decision probably no, but yeah.
Zidane was his manager, so maybe he's got some of that
tips. Yeah, he's calling him up saying, "What's the technique?"
And speaking of discipline, there are new rules at this summer's tournament. Players that approach the referee that aren't the captain of either team will be immediately booked. İlkay Gündoğan was quizzed on that last night.
What to think about it right now, to be honest, because it's also a little bit what the referees will make out of it, because I hope that they also understand that we are human beings, we have emotions, and we can react sometimes out of emotions. I wouldn't say disrespectful, but not in the best manners, maybe. And as long as it's not disrespectful to the referee, and I kind of get the idea of that rule, but there are small margins, I think, where the referee has to show a little bit empathy.
Are there any players that you think there's no way that they're going to follow that and guaranteed yellow cards at the tournament?
Yeah, so it's only the captain who can go up. So I think Xhaka's probably saved himself as captain, and Morata as well. He's quite passionate, but. Yeah, but he's also captain, so he's got away with it. But I think, I don't know. It's a bit of a shame, especially in a tournament like the Euros where there's so much passion. You're playing for your nation, and maybe a dodgy decision. It's just an instinct to go and speak to the ref, and as long as, like Gundogan said, if you do it in a respectful manner, I don't see a problem in it. If you are shouting in his face, screaming, like when Buffon did it against.
During the Champions League.
Yeah, Michael Oliver, but okay, that probably deserves a yellow. But if you're doing it in a respectful manner, I don't see a problem in it.
Well, if I think about the England team, They're so passionate. Whenever I think about players and real the emotions they must be going through, I think back to Joe Hart against Italy, or was it Italy or Uruguay, 2014 World Cup, and he's trying to get the ball from the ball. Give me that. And he's absolutely desperate for it. But if I think about this England team in approaching the referees, so Harry Kane will be fairly polite. Jude Bellingham,
that's a good point.
he had a problem this season with a referee.
Yeah.
When he scored that late goal for Real Madrid that wasn't given. I remember Declan Rice. I think West Ham had just gone out of the Europa League to Frankfurt, and he's in the tunnel. How can you be that bad to the referee?
Yeah.
Anyone from England that worries you?
Yeah, to be fair, those two probably. I'm just trying to think. Yeah.
Kyle Walker,
maybe. Yeah.
Jordan Pickford, surely.
Oh, Jordan Pickford. Luckily, he's quite far away in goal, so maybe he's sprint. Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, no, I think those four are probably good shouts. I think Foden, Saka, they're quite level-headed. I think they're quite cool, so I don't think they would. But yeah, maybe Maguire as well if he was still in the squad, but he's sadly injured. But
well, we've heard from Gundogan. We've touched upon Kroos. Tell me, who's your key man for Germany this summer? I personally think it's Florian Wirtz.
Yeah, I completely agree. To stand out in a side that nearly went invincible in 3 competitions, only lost in the Europa League final, it's difficult to look past him. I think, especially, not many people probably watched Leverkusen in the league from England, and they watched the Europa League, and he wasn't great. He didn't stand out. So maybe he'll have a point to prove and show people that he is just as talented as the stats show, as you can see. And he was the MVP in the Bundesliga.
Look at those SofaScore stats. They're so detailed. 49 matches, 18 goals, 19 assists with 22 big chances created. So his chances will be going towards Kai Havertz this summer. So are you saying that Wirtz is the danger man from a goal scoring perspective? Assists, what are you expecting to see from him?
Yeah, I think assists and goal scoring. I mean, you look there, he can create and he can score. I think against France early on in one of the friendlies, he scored inside 1 minute, collecting the ball from kickoff, running and scoring from distance. So he has that in his locker. He's good on the ball, technical, so he can operate in small spaces, but also he can find a teammate. And as you're backing Kai Havertz, so if he's scoring a lot of goals as you expect him to, he'll get a lot of assists as well.
You said you're backing Kai Havertz, as if you might not be yourself, though.
As a Chelsea fan, it pains me to say how good he is at Arsenal now, but yeah.
And away from Wirtz and Havertz, there's a forgotten man as such in Jamal Musiala.
Yeah.
How important is he going to be?
I suppose, yeah, it'll be exciting to see those two Havertz, Wirtz and Musiala all linking up with Gundogan just kind of playing centrally. It's quite a narrow kind of team, but they're all really good players. Like Musiala, like the way he dribbles against in the first leg, Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid, I thought he outshone Bellingham, and he's a really good, fun player to watch.
What do you think classifies as a successful tournament for Germany this time around? You look back over their last few tournaments, World Cup 2022, they were shocking.
Yeah,
they were absolutely shocking. Euro 2020, we beat them. That Müller chance, I don't know how vividly you remember it, but Sterling loses the ball, Müller's still on goal, and I think we just scored.
Yeah, I think
and it was just like, oh my God, all of the hard work is about to go out the window in 3, 2, 1. He misses. Wembley erupted. I like the sigh of relief around England for that moment. Oh, I wish I could re-experience that again. Then you go back to the World Cup 2018, out in the groups again.
Yeah.
Is the pressure on them to achieve more because they're the host nation? What's the success?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, getting out the group is probably a good benchmark from previous years, but no.
Any Germans watching this will hate you.
Well, hopefully I don't get too much abuse.
The bar's very low in your mind.
Yeah, no, but I think a semi-final minimum, to be honest. I think they've got, we mentioned the players they've got. Nagelsmann's probably one of the best coaches in the competition, if not the best. He's a tactician, so he'll know what he's doing, obviously, and he'll create tactics to, stifle the opposition, where maybe Deschamps isn't like that, but I think semi-final with the talent they got, and also the winners, Kroos, Rudiger. Yeah, I think a semi-final minimum.
Let's take a step back from the tournament as a whole and go back to tonight. I want your score prediction, please. I'm putting you on the spot here. I didn't ask you for this before.
I think it's. I'm gonna go. 3-1
You're going
Germany.
3-1.
Yeah.
I'm personally going 3-0. Kai Havertz brace. I've captained him in Euro Fantasy Football. Anyway, we did want to touch upon the England team, but we've had some technical difficulties reaching James St. Dennis, who is out in Germany already. It's only fair, it's only right that we make everything about ourselves with the England chances for this tournament. So, you don't think England are going to win it?
No.
But, I mean, that international tournament vibe, the atmosphere, we love it. We love it here in the country. Where are you expecting? What's our success?
I think it's semi-final again. I mean, I watched that Jude Bellingham Adidas advert, and it has got me a lot more hype for England. And I do think, semi-final again. But it's difficult because there's so much excitement and so much hope. Like from last Euros, getting to the final, it'll be a shame if we don't get to a final. And I think a semi-final will be a heartbreak. But there's just so many good teams compared to maybe the last edition of the Euros.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously a bit before our time, but haters, veterans, Jerry Cox and Nick Callow will very much remember Euro 96, where England hosted, and that was won by the Germans. I think revenge is due.
Right, so yeah, I think so. Yeah, that will. I mean, I wasn't born, but yeah, it sounds like that will be
Can
good.
you imagine the scenes if England beat Germany on penalties in the semi-final or even the final?
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I think that'll be the best day of my life, to be honest.
Well, what's also bizarre is that during the tournament, we've got the transfer window. So there's so much going on all at the same time. There's so much for us to think about. Included in the England squad is Ivan Toney, who, in my opinion, is very lucky to have made the England squad. If the tournament had been last season, then from his numbers at Brentford, of course he warrants a place. This time around, I'm not so sure. Do you think he deserved to make it in there?
I don't think so, especially with Ollie Watkins. I think Ollie Watkins offers more, and I don't know, Toney hasn't been that good since when he initially came back from the ban. I thought, okay, yeah, he hasn't really lost it, but he kind of dipped in form towards the end of the season, and I'd much prefer a Grealish or a Rashford coming in who can create for the likes of Watkins and Kane rather than Ivan Toney. But I suppose we saw penalties are important in the World Cup when England went out, and then also the Euro final when we went out to penalties as well. So, and he can take a penalty. So maybe that was part of the thinking.
No, I do understand that. I think Cole Palmer, though, as well,
Of course.
he can take his penalties. I think Ivan Toney's an out-and-out striker. And if Southgate wanted one more out-and-out striker to be there, on numbers alone, considering he did clearly pick his squad based on form, Dominic Solanke must be furious.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. But I do think Toney can win a game on his own. I remember Man City last year, he won the game for Brentford. He can hold up the ball, he can lead the line, he can score, he can also create a bit. He has it all in him. So if we get that version, then great. But I don't know if he's in that moment of his career right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And where do you think he'll be next season? Brentford apparently this morning, I read in the papers, have lowered their asking price for Ivan Toney. Where do you think he'll go?
Oh, he's made it pretty clear that he doesn't want to be at Brentford. But it's kind of difficult to see where he'll be. I mean, Arsenal are looking for a striker, but I don't think his personality kind of suits the squad they've got. You look at Aubameyang, who was a better striker at the time, and Arteta was willing to get rid of him for younger players, and so I don't think he'd go there. And with Chelsea, I think they're looking at somewhere else, or as other option, kind of younger players. But I was thinking when you said that, maybe if Napoli sell Osimhen and he could go there, I think that'd be quite cool. Leading the line and we've seen young English players go to Serie A and the Bundesliga. I mean, he's not young, but revitalize their career like Tammy Abraham, and I think that'd be quite cool. But
you know how transfer rumors can start from anywhere. In my head,
exactly.
You have now just started.
Yeah, that was
with
just
Tony to Napoli.
It sounds nice, though. I think.
Well, Manchester United are obviously linked with quite a few players. Number one being Jared Branthwaite, who didn't make the England squad. I think that was a pretty ludicrous decision not to bring him.
Yeah.
Do you think he fits into the Man United team?
I'm not. I think it's more of a statement signing from their new board, but because they've got Martinez is also a left centre back, and I'd probably say he is their best defender. So unless they kind of put Bamford on the right, which they can do, obviously. It'll be interesting. And he is good. He's very imposing. He's a powerful centre-back. But also, when I watched him play Chelsea, Stamford Bridge, Cole Palmer tore him apart. And then against Isak and Haaland at times this season, he's also been questionable. So maybe it's come a bit too early for him, a big move like United, because there's so much scrutiny on a player at United. But yeah, I think maybe an extra year I would have done. But
I think the Man United are going to be the key part of all the transfer gossip this summer.
Yeah.
Now Ten Hag is staying, we will know who his targets are going to be, more or less. He's quite a transparent kind of guy. When it comes to who he's looking for, where he's looking for, what positions he wants to improve, and that just makes me think very quickly, because we're combining transfers with England. Luke Shaw, he is apparently injured, and Man United might want to sign a new left back. That just gets me thinking: why on earth did Gareth Southgate not bring Tyrick Mitchell to Germany?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he was very trigger happy with the Crystal Palace players, rightly so. They're all very good, and Tyrick Mitchell has probably been England's best left back. So yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't do that. Just to have an actual left back in the squad who is fit will be important, because Trippier he can play left back, but he's right-footed, and it kind of changes the dynamic of a side having that option.
One other player that was linked to Man United, doesn't look like he is going there, because he is apparently moving to Germany. João Palhinha from Fulham. How do you think he's going to do at Bayern Munich if he does sign there?
Yeah, well, it's been dragged out. It was last summer. Now it finally looks like it's being completed, or soon to be completed. And yeah, I think it's a great sign. He was so good. He's for Fulham, he's probably their best player. And you saw kind of when you watch Bayern, they have a lot of midfield runners like Goretzka and Lehmer, but they didn't really have a guy who can sit deep and just protect the defence. And I think Palhinha will really add to that. I think he is the player who can maybe get Bayern back on their winning ways.
No, I 100% agree. Anyway, I think that's enough for us from today. A reminder, we are live every single day throughout the Euros at 1 o'clock, where we'll preview the day's fixtures. We will review the nights before. So we will see you tomorrow to review Germany versus Scotland, look ahead to Hungary versus Switzerland, and the group of